Banco Beverage. Proudly serving the Lehigh Valley for over 80 years. It's 80 years. Say it with me. 80 years. It's a long time. Over 30 plus breweries distributed, including Miller, Yuengling, Pabst, Guinness, Heineken, plus a generous variety of imported and specialty brands. They are located at Crackersport Road in Allentown, PA. Can't get any more local than that, Lehigh Valley. Banco Beverage is locally owned, operated since 1933. They have an exceptional team of staff dedicated to making their customers happy. If you're interested in having Banco be your purveyor for whatever bar or establishment you own, you can go to www.bancobeverage.com. I have the information in the ads as well, and I want to thank Banco for coming on and being a sponsor. Myself and Tony are working on some projects, and we are going to be bringing some really cool content, as well as Banco is going to be providing for a lot of the things that we do event-wise. So thank you, Banco, again. Thank you, Tony, and check out Banco Beverage. Giacomo's Italian Market. What an awesome relationship that has blossomed between Never Again Studio and Giacomo's Italian Market. We've been working with them with Studio Kitchen. We've been doing their Italian sausage and going to pop-ups with them. I love Sal. I love all the guys over there. It's always awesome collaborating. And you should go check them out. They got specialty Italian items. They're famous for the cheesesteak, the sausage. I can't even list everything because everything over there on that menu is fantastic. It's a home run. They are in Easton, PA, 700 Cattell Street. That's 700 Cattell Street in Easton, PA. They are over by College Hill. It's a dope area to check out. You need to go there. They got plenty of inside seating. They got all kinds of specialty Italian things off to the side, a pasta, vodka sauce. I usually just go there because I'm not making it as good as Sal. So I pick up my vodka sauce and, I say, what's up? We got some oils and all kinds of different things. But I can't say nothing but positive things over at Giacomo's. If you know them, you know them. If you don't know them, you're crazy and you need to get over there. That's 700 Cattell Street in Easton. That's Giacomo's Italian Market. Tell Sal what's up. The Curious Plantaholic, located in Nazareth and Clinton, New Jersey. The Nazareth location was opened first, and I met Jenny. We immediately hit it off. I knew we would start working on projects. She is the energy and the breath of fresh air that Nazareth needs. I started buying plants off of her, went down a rabbit hole. Now I got a bunch of plants I got to take care of. I'm trying my hardest. People are helping me. What an awesome shop for plants, retail. The energy in there is amazing. The employees in there are amazing. It's a plant and supply store focused on connecting with local communities, and boy, do they do a fantastic job at that. I can't say enough about these guys. You need to go to their locations and check them out, but they also have plants for sale online. It's thecuriousplantaholic.com, and right now they have 2 locations, which is Nazareth, and the other one is Clinton, New Jersey. Please check them out, and you can get more information at curiousplantaholic.com. I'm going to be working with Jenny on some other projects as well, so you will see us kind of creating a vibe and some things going on in Nazareth. We're really going to help kind of revitalize and get some things going on in Nazareth. So if you want to, please check out the Curious Plantaholics in Nazareth. Support local, support us. They support the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on as a sponsor.
What are you doing this weekend? You want to grab drinks? I work.
Never Again Radio episode. I have no clue where we are. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. How are you? We just jump into it. We jump into it.
I know. Hey.
I don't know where our journey started, probably from Slate Quarry.
Yeah.
And then I found out you did music, and then it kind of snowballed into having this event at the studio, and then I met Matt through you, and we pulled off the first studio sets. So I thought it would be cool to kind of come in here and interview you guys and kind of get into how your music career started, how the two of you guys got together. I know a little bit about it, but I kind of want to start out with where did singing begin for you? Because when I first had you down here, I was like, there's no way you just started singing, and you're like, since a baby. So have you always been into music and singing since a child?
Yeah. So if you ask my parents, they will probably say that I was singing before I could talk.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so there's home videos of me and stuff as a child and singing songs from the musical Annie and stuff like that. And but I could like barely talk, which is really funny. But yeah, I think it's always just been like my thing. Like I don't remember a time when I like wasn't singing really. Like I grew up in a musical household too, so
What instruments were being played?
well, like my grandma is an amazing pianist and like tried to make my dad, her son, like play instruments as a child. So
Did anything take to him?
he played cello, like he was forced to play cello. But then he picked up the drums himself as a hobby. So he played drums. And then like we had to take piano lessons when we were younger because my grandma is a piano teacher. But
Did you stick to them?
Well, that's the thing. Of course, whenever you're a child and
you're forced to
do it, you don't want to do it then. So
Never.
I think it was like in 8th grade, I started taking piano lessons. And then also at that same exact time, my sister's boyfriend at the time approached me and he was like, I got a new guitar. And I was like, cool. And he's like, do you want my old one? And I was like, okay. And he said, the only thing is you have to learn how to play it. And I said, okay.
That's cool.
So then that's why I picked up a guitar as well. And mainly too, just to accompany myself because I really don't like, well, now it's ironic because I play with Matt, but like I really don't like relying on other people for things that often.
It's difficult, especially in music and bands.
Yeah.
And I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of music. I think I had an electric guitar was probably the first thing. And I look back on it and I'm so pissed that I became frustrated with not learning how to read music.
Yeah.
And like I was going to a really cool teacher at the Nazareth Music Center down here.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember he was like, oh, we're going to play like Louie. And
Right.
I could, if he did it, I could match it. But then when it came to like, and I guess I shouldn't have had so much stress on myself because it was just some bullshit class my mom was paying for. It wasn't like, in school.
Right.
But I stopped doing that and I look back and I was like, man, like that would have changed so much. That's why I asked about the piano because
Yeah.
I have a friend whose daughter's playing piano and they're really trying to like just constantly because you can do anything if you can play the piano.
Oh yeah, and I agree. Like that's the one thing I'm mad about. It's like I wish my parents would have just been like, no, you have to do this.
Yeah.
Because now I'm looking back, I'm like, if I would have just done it as a child, even though I didn't really want to, I would have been like really, really good. And like now I feel like it's harder to learn those things as an adult because your brain is like basically fully developed.
My friend Randy, who's played in a bunch of different bands since we were kids, and they would always be in bands. It was Randy, Joel, and Josh, and I would go to the practices. I went to a lot of my friends' practices before the mill was apartments. You guys are probably too young, but it was just a mill, and upstairs they had just carpet on the floor, and bands used to rent out several spaces inside the mill, and there was 2 or 3 local bands that would practice there, so we would hang out there and just listen to music and stuff. But we were the same age and he's still taking guitar lessons and is like an incredible guitarist and we'll just like put out these videos where he's just like and I was like, oh, I could have done that.
I know. You kick yourself then, which is funny, but yeah, I don't know. I think too also like, well, we're very similar in this sense. We talk about it a lot, me and Matt. We grew up in the church but we've gone to like different churches, not the kinds that, you have like a choir, at least, well, I mean, from what we discussed, I don't want to speak for you, Matt, but like
he's I'm in a cult.
But like I went to churches that had like bands. And so I remember always just like sitting there in church and like watching, like there'd be a female like piano player and like she'd be like singing and stuff. And I'm like, this is so sick. Like, that's what I want to do. Like, and just going to like see live like shows as a child too, like you just look at it and you're like, yeah, that seems awesome.
So Matt, you started early with music as well, doing church stuff?
Yeah, so actually, like as many people, I started in 4th grade as a drummer. Of all things, I was a drummer, and that continued out through the end of high school. I was in marching band and orchestra and jazz band and all that stuff as a drummer. But the church stuff, I was probably in 6th grade, and I joined the church choir because they took us out to Applebee's every once in a while. So like, I was like, hell yes, I'm doing this.
That was when Applebee's was good.
Yeah,
legit.
Like actually.
But no, and I learned how to sing that way because I also sing as well, and I sang in the church choir till like midway through high school. But like Christina was saying, like with the church bands and stuff, we had like a high school like fellowship time or something like that, and they had a worship team, and the guitarist was leaving. She was a senior. I was like, well, I can learn that. I mean, it's easy, right? And the moment I picked up the guitar, it was game over. That was it. Yeah. Guitar was the instrument for me. So like after that, I like graduated to the, as we called it, the big church. You know what I mean? So like the Sunday worship services, and I became like a worship leader for a long time. Yeah.
What was it about the guitar that was more that drew you in more than the drums?
I think it's like a different challenge, you know. It's like I had been playing drums for like 8 years at the time. And I think it was out of the necessity that we needed a guitarist that I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do it. Why not?
Yeah.
Might as well.
Might as well, you know.
Were you ever chosen to be a part of the Singing Boys of Pennsylvania?
I'm not even familiar with what that is.
The Singing Boys of Pennsylvania, there was this doctor guy who used to go around. I forget his name. And he would come to Bushkill Elementary, and he was very odd in how he did everything. And he would like kind of yell at the kids, but it was only boys. So like it was basically putting all the boys from the school in a room, and then he had to walk individually and be like, can you go me, 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 me? So like everyone's just dicking around because no one's being quiet because there's like 60 kids or more in a room. And they wanted me to do it, but they like what they do then is like you learn how to sing with the choir, but then they like go overseas to Japan, and then like so like my dad was like, absolutely not, are you going anywhere with this goddamn weirdo? But I didn't know if that was something that crossed your path. That was like real. You know what? I keep forgetting how young you guys are, so that's something that probably had passed that they don't do anymore. But it was like a small window where they grab kids before they hit puberty.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I did do some like trips with the church choir.
Yeah.
Like I was able to go to Canada and Niagara Falls.
That's
and
cool.
I sang on Martha's Vineyard, and we went to like Ann Arbor for some reason. I saw the Big House. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird trips, but it was pretty cool. And then
at least you got to go see stuff.
Yeah, in high school I sang on the Arizona, like the memorial for Pearl Harbor. So we sang the national anthem and all that stuff in high school there.
Did you get into stuff like that in high school?
No, well, kind of.
So where did it go from after you didn't play the piano?
Yeah.
And then you picked up the guitar. So where did we go after that?
Well, then I was playing the piano.
Yeah.
Like I was teaching myself guitar, and then I was taking piano lessons a little bit and like voice lessons a little bit. But I was never into like the choir or like orchestra, like that was not my thing. Like I was approached by like the marching band director or whatever you want to call him. He was like, you should play the xylophone or something, like whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm good on that. But
that's the one thing no one would play.
Yeah. But like in high school, there was this thing called Eagle Block, where it was just like a like open time where people would just sign up for different like club or like fun things, I don't know, whatever. So I like signed up for like this music thing. We would just go in a room and like mind our own business and play guitars. And I was just like singing to myself in the corner and playing guitar. And the teacher, who was like the monitor, I guess, of this club, came up to me and was like, you should audition for the block of rock class that we have. And I was like, I don't know what that is. So essentially what it was is like people audition for whatever instrument they're like focuses, and then you create bands within the class, and you just like learn different songs together as a band. And then like at the end of each I think semester or whatever, you would then put on a concert with all your band that you created in the class. And so like that's what I did sophomore, junior.
Did you get to name
year.
the band?
Yeah.
What was the name of your band?
So there's different ones. I don't remember. Oh gosh, the one was Christina and the Giacolettis.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then it was Maroon 6 or 1 through 4 in parentheses.
Yes.
Those are the only two that I remember. Yeah. Those are the two names that I remember. There was another one, but I don't remember what it was.
That's cool that you would be able to get to do that in school.
It was
and like learn how to play with a group. And
it was so fun. Like just for I think it was like an hour on, I don't remember how long our classes were. It's been a long time. But like you just sit in a room with like a bunch of people and you just like jam. Like it was just fun, like a fun time. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Work as a, like you said, like as a group together. And that was like my first experience as like in a band, I guess. Yeah.
So then where did it go after high school? Oh wait, no. How was it doing your first show? Did you sing? Were you in the front? Like where were you
like
at with
in
the show?
high school?
Yeah.
Like with that? Oh yeah. I mean, I was always nervous. I still am so nervous when I do it. But I had done like talent shows and stuff before that. But like, I'm very weird because I don't like attention on me, which is like ironic. Like I don't want anyone looking at me.
Yeah.
But I like doing it. Like this is something I feel passionate about. But like,
it like forces you to get out of comforts.
Yeah, but it's like I have videos of like the concerts from high school.
I would like to see those.
And it is hilarious. Like I thought I, at the time did really well. And like granted, I probably did do well for like what I was producing at that time, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, but it was fun. I mean, I was always in the front because I was a singer.
Yeah.
Which like also, why did I get that role? I mean, that's what my instrument was, but like, can someone else like be the lead? I guess. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's just, it was fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very similar in the same way, which is crazy that I do all this stuff because, like, I don't like attention on any of it.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to, like, this year I'm really trying to not, like, hide behind my work. Like, I'm trying to, like, step out and be the podcast guy because I've been doing it for too long and, like, I've worked on it too far where it's like, hey, there's no more work.
Right.
Like, people know you from this. Like, you
Yeah.
can't hide behind it. The only way this goes any further than where it's at is I have to be never again studio guy.
Yeah.
Which is like when I started it, I never wanted to do that because I just wanted to do the creative side. And then, I didn't want, because there's a part of putting out the music or putting out the podcast that like is enjoyable, but I like hiding behind it. And that's why I was asking, because when I was younger, I always wanted to do the talent shows, and I never did.
Yeah.
And I never did any of, like, the music stuff because sometimes I would look at it and, like, I would see so far down the road where I'd be like, nope, you're going to be on stage. And then I would get, like, immediate anxiety at such a young age that I didn't even know what anxiety was. And I'm like, I'm not signing up for it at all.
Well, yeah, and that's so, like, it's interesting you say that, too, because, like, I don't know what it is, but, like, I would be scared to do that, and I would be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm literally so nervous." Like I would like want to throw up beforehand, like so nervous. But like there's just something inside of me that's like, "Well, you have to do." Like it's just that's what you have to do. Like you love doing it. Like even though there's people watching you, like
even like hosting and like when I had to do the comedy show, they made me get up and like thank everybody for coming, and I didn't want to do that. And then this time, Jer wasn't here, so I was able to get away with it, and I asked Mike to do it. But even like people were down here and I was just pretending this wasn't my place.
Oh yeah.
Like I was just like, cool place.
Well, that's the worst thing about performing live music is the in between. Like we can get up there and we can do the songs, but it's the what you say to everyone in between. Like can you all just like listen to me? I'm just gonna go through the songs. Like, do I have to say anything? Like, because it's like public speaking.
Because it's odd. Because I mean, Mike pointed it out. Because when you're going through the editing and whatnot, you start having like an up close, intimate experience with the person because you guys are being filmed like tight shots.
Right.
And you're studying it. But Mike was like, he's like, it's so crazy how as soon as the song starts, she has an exuberant amount of confidence and you're like owning the fucking song, and then as soon as it's over you're like okay guys, well anyways, and you're like turning your head, and I was like, holy shit. I'm like, it's like literally like the moment that the lyric comes out of your vocals, that's when like you have complete confidence, you have complete control, you own the whole fucking thing, and then as soon as it's over, it's like, hey, okay, thanks for coming. I guess that's my favorite song.
Because I've listened to it all too, and I'm like, well, that's just how it is. I mean, that's how I'm at open mics as well. Like when we go out and like, but I think it has everything to do with confidence. Like I feel confident in like singing and doing music in front of people like now, I mean, but that's also come with time too and like practice. But like talking in front of people is so different.
It's weird.
I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like a dichotomy.
I get so overwhelmed by the moment that like it literally becomes third person.
Yeah.
And then like I can like feel my heart rate and like I hate it. Like I really do not like attention like that at all.
I know.
Which is crazy, but I get so pissed where I'm like, well, somebody else fucking do this. And then no one ever does. So then I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're not doing anything in town. And then I'm like forcing myself. Like I'm excited for the next time because like I'm hiding in that kitchen. Like that was, I've worked in like kitchens where like you have the, like Slate Quarry's the same way where you can hide in the back. But like I keep telling Gina, I'm like, you're talking to everybody. Unless somebody's coming through the side door, they know me. Other than that, like I don't want to talk to anybody at all.
I know. I get that.
But you bartend too.
I know. Well, that's the thing. I always tell everyone, I'm like, people think I'm such like a people person because I, you know, work in the service industry, like work in real estate, like I'm on stage all the time, but like I'm very quiet actually. But like when you're doing those jobs, like it's completely a front, you know, like it's just kind of like you're playing a role. And like
I think I like that aspect too. And the other thing reason I think it works for you as well is like a lot of the times, and I see a lot of people doing a lot of different things, but like you're not making it about yourself. Like if you were like overly confident and were like, I'm gonna be famous, everybody, here's this song. That would be a totally different vibe.
There's like, and that's such a like a line to like to because I know so many people, like so many musicians, and Matt can attest to this in Lehigh Valley, where it's like, you're great, but like, can you like if you're just a little bit more humble, like you know, it would
legit.
If this podcast and I acted like I was a premier podcaster and interviewer, it would be so different. I make everything about whoever comes on. And then I try and relate because that's how you get into regular conversation. But outside of that, like I have no interest in just making it about me the entire time. I don't like myself.
I mean, hey, I'm in that boat with you, kind of.
I can't believe you don't like me.
No, like myself.
No, I got it. So when you get out of high school and you're doing all of your music stuff, has music stayed with you outside of high school? Did you take a break from it, or did you never not stop playing?
Never not stop playing.
It's a thing.
That was a tongue twister. But it was like I was just doing covers and stuff for the most part. Like that's how I got into it. And then it was when I think it was my first year at NAC, like Northampton Community College. I've met my best friend actually in this one class. She sat in front of me and she's like, oh, we're going to an open mic in Bethlehem, like you should come. Like I saw you posted, because I used to post like videos on YouTube and like Facebook and stuff, and she's like, I saw you posted one on your Facebook, like you should come to open mic. And I was like, oh gosh. So it was like the first time I went out to an open mic ever and like played by myself, because like I said previously,
that's gotta be nerves on the ride over.
I was so nervous because even before, like when I was playing in high school in Block of Rock, like I was in a band, right? So you're not on stage by yourself. Like at least there's other people up there that gives you a sense of comfort. But like, so I went, it was the first open mic by myself at Hookah Turka, which is no longer there. The building's completely gone.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Hookah Turka.
Rest in power.
And, but yeah, that's where I started going. And then like they had open mics 2 times a week. So I just kept going like every single week. And it was, that I think was like the catalyst for like my, like starting to write my own music and stuff, because it was such a community of people that were showing up for this open mic. Like no one was there to hookah. Everyone was there for the music. Like I don't remember seeing anyone ordering hookah at all. And like it was just, people were there to support one another, and you would like leave after the fact, like just like feeling so inspired by like what happened.
That was what I was going to ask on like how your ride home was from that, because like that's where I think you kind of get addicted to it. I remember when we first started podcasting, and we had like, I left my apartment and we had a studio in Bethlehem, and like it was a real thing because, you know, I took all this money and dumped it into it, and we had a place to go and guests. And I remember the audio would be done, and on the ride home I would listen to the podcast, and I just remember like because it came to a point where I no longer had time to listen to
Right.
that many podcasts, because back then we were doing them maybe once a week, but like with the audio, you could listen to half of it on the ride home. Then
Right.
I found myself like when I got home putting it on and just being like
Yeah.
becoming obsessed with like listening to it. But
Yeah.
I became so addicted to that feeling because you disappear from everything.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to remember how that is when you first started, because you don't ever stop after that. So then the thought of how it started, but like looking back on it now, it's like, man, like it made everything disappear. I didn't have bills, I didn't have problems,
Yeah.
girls, whatever. Everything was just gone, and it
Yeah.
was just obsessed with just like
Yeah.
this audio coming out of my shitty car.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's kind of the feeling that I get after, like, or even like while I'm playing, like everything just like, I don't, it's like ironic because I said, it's a very nerve-wracking thing, and like I hate being in front of people, but like when I'm playing and like performing, that is like when I feel most myself and like most at ease. Like I'm an anxious person. Anxiety, that's my baseline at all times. But like, and yes, before I start playing and I'm standing on stage, I'm anxious, but as soon as I get into it, like I feel the most comfortable, like with myself, and just, I don't know, like everything just kind of goes away, like you were saying. And so, yeah, it's just weird that how it works like that. But like, I would definitely, like after playing someplace, like if people took videos, I'm like driving home, like listening, was that good? Was that bad? Like obsessing, this is what I need to change. Like,
It's also cool to be a part of something where it starts.
Yeah.
Like, oh, all right, well, this is where I can go to be in a band. This is where I can go to start singing publicly. So it's a very, like, you have a lot of opportunity in the very beginning as well, because you don't have any direction at that point.
Right.
So it's fun
Yeah.
to, like, go once a week or whatever, or multiple times a week to do this thing that, like, can really take you anywhere. It's just the road. And, it's like anything else. It's life. There's bullshit in between it.
Yeah.
There's band breakups, there's
Yep.
people passing away, like then there's real life on top of that. So
Yeah.
it's like no one tells you any of that stuff
Yeah.
in between, but if you keep riding that line, I feel like
Yeah.
you're just constantly doing this thing that you're addicted to,
Yeah.
no matter what comes out of it.
yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of also like what brought like me and Matt together to a certain point, like was kind of, well, I can't speak about your musical journey, but like mine was at Hookah Turka. I met like my now ex-boyfriend, and like we started like collaborating on music. We started a band called Girl Hands with my friend Pat and Noah, and like that was cool. And then like people moved away, and then my ex-boyfriend started his own band, and like I was just always kind of like in the backdrop, like not really doing anything. He would be like, oh yeah, like I want you to sing on these songs and stuff. And it wasn't until like a few years into it that he was like, yeah, like you should like be a part of the band. And so then I like was in the band. But then a breakup happened, and like that was the catalyst of me being like, okay, well, like I'm gonna do my own thing now.
Yeah, I'm not driving to see you each week.
Yeah, like I'm.
It's like breaking up with somebody you work with.
Yeah, like I'm like, okay, cool, and that's like your decision. Like, but it was kind of more like I did it because I was angry, but also it was like I've spent so long in the background of like these bands, and like in Girl Hands, my first band, I wasn't singing as much. Like I was singing a little bit, but they were like, oh, like you should play the bass. I've never played the bass in my entire life. And all of a sudden I'm playing the bass. If you asked me to play a bass right now, couldn't do it. I couldn't even play the songs that we were playing now. Like I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm not singing. Like my main instrument is my voice. Like that's what I want to do. And then when I was in the other band, I was doing like harmonies and stuff, but I wasn't like, I felt like I wasn't being used to my full potential.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I also put other people's like dreams in a way before mine. And then I'm like, okay, well, no, like this is enough. Like now I want to do work on my music, because like what I have is cool and dope and like cool. So then that's why I like slid into Matt's DMs. I mean, like we knew
dirty dog.
We knew each other because
yeah.
My ex-boyfriend jammed with him the one time, and was like, he came to me and was like, yeah, well, he's like, Matt's like, his style of playing like would fit your music really, really well. And I was like, okay, yeah. Like, and I kind of just like ignored it. I do this thing where like I like am interested in something, but then I can just like put on the back burner. And then the catalyst happened, and I was like, all right, slid into Matt's DMs. Hey, I go, what's your phone number? I'm sending you songs.
That was me. I was on the back burner.
Yeah. We were both on the back burner.
Yeah.
It was, like, it's kind of nice, but.
Yeah. And like, so like, I actually really didn't know Christina that well, but I did know her ex-boyfriend pretty well. And he was in a band with a couple of mutual friends, and I actually asked to see if I could join that band and play a little bit, and it was going well for a little bit, but they decided that they wanted to stay a three-piece. And like I ended up seeing Christina out at the bar somewhere, and
the Fun House. That's your guys' spot.
No, it was
at Sokol's, National Sokol's.
Yeah.
But I had seen that she had closed on her first house because she's a realtor. And I saw it on Instagram, and I was like, I walked up to her, I was like, hey, congratulations, because it's a big deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Closing on your first house. And her
You're
friend.
like, you got the drinks.
Her friend. Yeah, you got the drinks. Her friend was like, oh my God, who is this? Like, because like, I didn't know, like, who her friends were. And she's like, oh, what do you do? What's your deal? And I was just telling her that, you know, I'm a musician, that kind of stuff. And she goes, oh my gosh, I just wrote this short film. You and Tina should put a song together for it.
Yeah.
By the way, that song never happened yet. But then that's when she hit me up, and
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was wild. I was like, who is this?
Yeah. I'm like, hey, man. I'm like literally in Tennessee, like having a mental breakdown. Like, and I'm like, I remember where I was exactly when I messaged you on Instagram, because I had it. Like, and I'm like crying on the floor, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do my own music.
It's weird. It's weird how it takes like sometimes like those moments to, you know, I've had them over the years with doing apparel and different things, and like when you're trying to do something and you don't know how to do it, and it's confusing and you don't know what's going on, and then like I said, you have these life moments that'll just like punch you in the side of the head, and then you're still grabbing on to the thing that makes you happy, and then you try and figure out like how it can line up to make you feel better at the same time. Like it's very visual on that. I remember like, you know, there's just like key moments over the years of like, you know, it's funny because I remember the breakdowns and like the burnouts. I don't remember like the awesome stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I remember the parts where I was like, man, like this chapter really blows. But it like, because it's always a constant struggle when you're not wanting to put yourself out there to be, because you're so vulnerable, and then you're creative on top of it. And then when you're forced to like connect those things together, it's like magnets pushing apart.
Yeah. Although I would also argue, though, when I'm at my most vulnerable is like when I'm the most creative.
For writing and stuff like that? Yeah.
I, like, until this, like, breakup has happened, like, I had such a hard time writing anything new.
It's tough.
And, like, now I'm like, well, now I have material. At least that's a good thing.
Well, I want to touch on that. When did you start writing? Because the fact that you have that many original songs at this point is impressive, that they're all, like, that put together, and you guys putting the show on. It's like...
Well, thanks.
It's like, man, it was like there was a lot of it. Because that was, like, when I started trying to pull the production together, there was, like, questions about you. And they were like, well, how much of it's original? And I'm like, 90% of this is. I think you guys did one cover.
Just one cover, yeah.
So like, where did and it's not like you also know how to write music. It's not like just some shit put together. Like, when did that start, that you started writing your own original stuff?
Yeah, so that started when I started going to Hookah Turka, and I like had reconnected with an old high school friend, Pat, who was also then in the band Girl Hands with me, and I just like it was in a very similar place that I like at that time where I am now, actually very similar. Like I was just getting out of a breakup and like was taking time to like process and things. And then, I just sat down with him the one time. I'm like, I have these piano chords and I have these words, but I don't know like what to do with them. And he's an amazing musician. So he's like, okay, cool. Like he helped me write like the melody and everything. And then he would play guitar with me when I'd play, like he accompanied me. And so it just started there. And I mean, it was nice that you said like it's impressive I have as much like material that I do, because I feel like I don't have that much like in comparison to all the other musicians like in Lehigh Valley that I see and like, you know, I'm around. But yeah, like that's basically where it started, and it just was like a natural thing. Like I'm constantly writing lyrics, like the notes on my phone is absolutely insane. Like,
did you keep a diary when you were younger? Like, where did writing stuff down come from?
Writing was always, I was a big reader as a child. I wanted to be an author when I was younger. Like, I've always like just like wrote things. Like, you should read my journals from like middle school and like elementary school. They're so cringy. But yeah, I've always just like written stuff down. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm not a big talker. Like I said, I'm a very quiet person. I'm very in my head all the time, and so I just write stuff down.
Yeah,
and just felt natural. Yeah.
No, I always, writing was one thing that was one of the only things I excelled at in high school. Like, my grammar was terrible, but like story writing and all that stuff and like putting it together. But then it just got to a point where like my head was so loud I could never calm down in order to put paper to pencil, like that kind of thing. And then like when I started learning like how to do like audio format, or like always searching for like, you know, because I couldn't play an instrument and I couldn't do anything. So I feel like what this inevitably turned into was my search for like creatively trying to express myself.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's one thing is like I couldn't write stuff down and all that, but that's why I was interested if you kept the diary, because when you start being able to express yourself like that, I'm sure it's not easy, but I'm sure it's an easier transition into songwriting, because you can go back and kind of feel, especially if you are in touch with how you write, you can bring your emotions back.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. I feel like that's a big process of it too. Like, even now when I write, it's like I'm just like the thoughts in my head just spewing out, and then I'll go back and kind of then edit it down and be like, okay, well, you don't need this, you don't need that.
We're definitely not saying that.
Yeah, like that was it's a little too much. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought right there, but yeah, basically, I'm writing things down and editing it down, and then you have like this thing that you're okay to maybe possibly work with. And then, but like, I have a hard time writing music and lyrics and putting it together, honestly. Like, I have so many lyrics, but then I feel like I can't write music that matches the tone of the lyrics, if that makes any sense.
We share that in common, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to follow up with you then, is like, do you write your own music and songs, and where were you at kind of before you guys met? Were you in bands a lot? Were you writing music a lot? Like, were you doing original stuff? Like,
yeah, so going back to what I was saying before with her ex-boyfriend and that band situation, once I was given the boot per se, I mean, it was
unbelievable.
It was very cordial. It was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
But I was like, you know what? I'm tired of like waiting for someone to come to me to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I made it my goal for I think that was like July-ish of this year, this past year. Jeez.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm gonna give myself to the rest of the year to write an EP, which is like 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah.
And I had never written anything before that. Never. I noodled on guitar, never wrote lyrics, but at that point I like just started writing, and yeah, my first song was about a breakup. I mean, I think those are always the best songs, but
most relatable.
Yeah, and you know, it's like when I met Christina, it was the first time that I was able to like actually go to an open mic and play with her stuff, and then when I started doing my own writing, then I got to play the open mics as well. Yeah. So, yeah, it was my writing career is very short-lived, as it was, just started last year, but it's been a...
Did you immediately like kind of compliment, because I know how your ex said that like you guys compliment each other, but like when you guys started playing together, did you know that there was like something there? Because it's like, because when you guys first came down here and it was just us, and I was like, hey, let's just see if it's too loud for that. And then like when you guys, just the way your guitar sounds to her voice, and then like you adding in guitar and keyboard on top of it, it's a very unique, special thing. And I was like, oh, holy shit. Because I mean, I was kind of taking a stab in the dark on it. What if it would even work? Like, because I believe what I saw from you was your song where you were just like playing acoustic in your room. Yeah, I was
just by myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't get to hear like what you added, but then when you kind of guys came together, I was like, man, like this is really cool. I mean, did you guys kind of feel that when you started kind of jamming together on open mics?
Immediately. He came over to my house. It was like a Sunday. It was a Sunday.
Oh,
it was a rainy Sunday.
And it rained. Yeah.
He came over to my house the first time, and I was like, okay. I'd already like sent him some recordings of like the songs, and he like listened to them, so he had an idea. But I was like, I'm like, I don't have any like suggestions for what you should do, like at all. Like, I've been playing these songs by myself forever. I can't hear.
Yeah, that's got to be weird because they're songs that, like you were just gonna say, you only hear them one specific way. You don't know how anybody's gonna compliment it.
Exactly.
Also, like, I just want to preface, we were really just acquaintances at this point. Like, it's a very vulnerable thing to put out, like, to, like, someone w's basically a stranger.
I go over to their house.
You know? Yeah, I know. Yeah. I was like, hey.
But, like,
do you have alcohol?
Yeah, right. Even her dog was scared of me. So, like,
well, she's scared of everyone.
Yeah, but no, and I always look back on that first rehearsal, and people were like, oh, how was it with Christina? Like, how'd it go? And I was like, that was the most organic rehearsal I've ever had in my life.
That's cool.
We would, like, I'd be like, let's start with this song. And, like, we would record it, like, on our phones just, like, so we could go back. And, like, in the recordings you can hear, after we're done, we'd just be like, that was cool. That was cool. Like, we were like, that was sick. Like, after each one, like, it just didn't. And I'm like, I have no suggestions for you. Like, I think what you did was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I thought it complemented it well. Like, because, well, one of the reasons why, like, my ex-boyfriend had said, like, we would, like, mesh well together was because Matt plays a lot, like, based off of, like, the feeling, the feeling you're trying to get across with the song, I think is the best way to put it. And, like, that's, like, all my music is just, like, about, like, the feeling of, you know, that's what the lyrics are about and stuff. So, yeah, like, it was the most organic thing ever, honestly.
Yeah, I think we banged out, like, 4 songs.
Yeah.
Like, and I haven't changed any of the parts since. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
And, like, from there to, like, the show, it was only, like, a month. So I learned all of her songs that she wanted to do for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is all super new.
Yeah, and I had to
for you guys to have done
I had to
that.
write all of the parts for that, too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I was like, how did I do that?
I don't even know. I don't even know how you did it.
Yeah, that's crazy. How little you've been playing with each other.
I know.
And how great it sounds together. And even when you guys were like dicking around, when we were just kind of feeling out the room and everything, and that was when you guys were playing, it's almost like you guys are like communicating to each other through the music. And like
kind of like that. I was like, did you just write that?
Yeah. Like, we literally like that when we were like, to quote you,
organic
when
is
we
very
were
dicking around.
When we were dicking around down here, like, that is literally a song that then we now play. Like, we because I was like writing this one little thingy, and then Matt was just like listening. He's like, okay, and he starts playing. I'm like, okay, well, there's a song. We wrote a song.
Yeah. I mean, it was all new to me too, because it was such a feeling out process, which is why I used dicking around. Is like, you know, I kind of wanted to just see what would happen, and then I was like, all right, well, you guys can play. And then, like, I remember, like, you know, I sat back there, and then I went upstairs in the lobby, and then I was just kind of moving around, but the whole time I was taking it in, and I'm like, man, this really works. And I'm like, man, I kind of just like took a stab in the dark for this thing working, but then it was more than I had ever thought it was going to be. And then I was like, oh, I think this is going to be something. And then I'm like, you know, because it was like we met up, I think it was 3 times here prior to it. So then it was like every time we met up, it kept getting closer to closer. And I was like, nah, this is exactly like what I wanted to do to introduce the segment. I mean, now whether any more come out of it or what goes on, I mean, there's so much on the back end of it that we're all learning now, and like the social media of it, and like there's so much that goes into it. And then I got someone telling me I need to fix the lighting on it, and then, like, you know, it's like there's so many moving parts, and like I think I'm going to do another one. It's just I definitely need time because because originally Mike was like, oh, let's just do another one right away. And then, like, as soon as we started getting into like scheduling and organizing this, and I'm like, I got to let this breathe. Yeah. I'm like, that was a lot to just kind of like jam in, where it was like, you guys, you know, we did a couple trial runs, then to host it. But I mean, everything worked out awesome. I was super happy with more than happy with kind of how everything came out. And it was cool to do it in Nazareth because, I mean, I might not be paying attention to what else is going on in Nazareth, but I don't get asked to go to shit like that. So it was cool to like put something on.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing in Nazareth. As someone who like plays music in the Lehigh Valley, like there's nothing really in Nazareth that like what we did, and then like it was super cool.
It's cool. I hope people see it and kind of take lead and maybe start putting on some basement shows. There's definitely venues around here where you can get away with stuff.
Yeah. Because no one does it, though.
No. And it's like, I don't know. When I started everything down here, I used to be scared of like, oh, what should we do? Should we get a permit? And then it's like, out of everything I do now, it's just like, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like if somebody bitches and complains, I'll deal with it the next day, but we'll record. But it's like, I never had any complaints about noise down here. You're in a basement. There's a lot you can get away with.
When you're in a basement.
Nazareth, people, if you're listening.
There's a lot you can get away with in a basement.
Yeah, very Jeffrey Dahmer.
That's very dark.
I'm going to clip that. So when you guys started kind of organically working together, like what were you guys, I mean, it's got to be weird for like when the two of you went home and been like, shit, like that. You know, because sometimes when you get involved in stuff like that, or like it doesn't work out, or like things like that, like it's you kind of take it personally. So to have two people that kind of like are involved in two projects that didn't work out, and then you guys completely matched, it was almost like,
we talk about that a lot. I'm like, we're we're the rejects, but we found one another, like kind of, you know what I mean? Because we were.
But I like that how it organically happened like that.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, and I think it like kind of shows to like, even though it didn't work out with like another band or with whatever, like it just goes to show that just wasn't for you. You know, like it doesn't make you like less than them, or like make what you're creating not as good as what, you know, they're creating. It just means that it's different. And like you're doing your own thing, which is also just as equally as cool.
And it's got to be kind of like a humbling learning experience for the both of you to be like, well, that didn't work out because now I know what it feels like to work out. So like it would have never worked in those other situations, and both of you wouldn't have been at your full potentials because you weren't allowed to step forward. And then because it's just the two of you, you both were allowed to shine, and then it kind of is, you guys are at your top potential to play together, which is what makes it the way it is. And I feel like a lot of people search for that, and then because you guys were pushed out of two different things, it's kind of like just naturally it's cool. It'll be fun to see where you guys take it because it's so early on.
I know.
I think we just had the same mindset of we were just tired of being background people. You know, we were both wallflowers anyway, but like you know, it's like this project, I mean, it's under her name, but I'm riding this line as well as she is, you know, and it's like, it's very self-gratifying that, like, you know, we did sell out your studio sets, and like people did want to come, and
we had to actually like, you know, pull back.
I know. I was like, I don't know. Guys, sorry, you can't come.
People were like, is there still tickets? I'm like, no.
It was like day up.
Sorry.
I know.
But no, it's just, I think this was, we were both on the same wavelength on the fact that we just wanted something better for ourselves that, you know, we could do together, and, you know, that kind of stuff.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was
cool. Was very cool.
It was very cool.
It's very cool. Yeah.
I mean, it went well. It definitely, a lot of people that came out that kind of like, because there's people that will fuck with things that I do, and then will just come down and be like, well, it'll be a good time. Because I try and cover, I do it too much, which is like my mom, but it's like I made sure there was alcohol, I made sure there was food, I made sure like, so if there's something you didn't like, there had to have been something there that you would have liked. So it's like, and then that way you kind of create the mood of people are having a good time, and then usually, regardless of like how it went, people still had a good time. So it's like, when, you know, the feedback I got afterwards was like, man, that was so fucking cool. And then like, you know, when, it was cool getting like the footage back and the audio back, and then being like, man, like, because that was the other thing too, is if one of those things would have went off, or you know, we could get away with how it looks now without paying someone to color correct it and do different stuff, because it was overly done. So, but like if one of those would have sucked, like it would have been a lot of work and a lot of people doing favors for it to not come out. So I mean, it was cool.
And like just everything that came out of it, like the videos now and stuff, it's like,
and they're doing well, because that's the other thing too, is I've already put a shitload of time into something, and then it's like, you know, like I've already fully I put all this effort into like making commercials to sell a t-shirt, and then you sell 6, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, and the people are like watching it and they comment on it, like like, talk to me about it. And like I was showing some friends like who are at the show, I was showing them the video, which is like completely different than like I'm sure standing there and being there, right? Because like all the shots and everything.
Yeah,
like, and it's
because the edits.
The edits. It's beautifully done.
Yeah.
And like I'm showing them a video, right? And they're watching it, and then they're like, I was there, and I'm still like, I turn around, my friend is literally crying, and I'm like, that's like the nicest compliment in the world. But like, they're like, we were all there, but like now seeing it and like being able to see like your face, like, and the emotion in it, like that up close, and like seeing like what Matt's doing, like
it's super
it's
personal.
everything, like, and so they're like, it's completely different experience, even like being there and then watching this video, like this product that you have like created out of it. And I mean, it's super cool. Like, so I mean,
it came out awesome because like the other thing too is like you guys are, after interviewing and finding out like how you guys kind of work together, where it's like organic and natural and it's a lot of feelings, but then like everybody involved who was doing camera work, like they're all professionals.
Right.
So like they're trying to capture like emotion. Like Matt was the one handling that, and he handled a lot of the close-ups on you. And I feel like that's Matt's wheelhouse of like capturing emotions like that. So like I feel like if it would have been anyone else here, it wouldn't have worked in the sense of how I wanted episode 1 to come apart. I didn't want it, like if you would have done a punk band, you couldn't have gotten
correct. Yeah, it would have been way different.
It would have been way different because you couldn't have done half those shots.
Right.
And you probably would have had to have used like an over the top shot and like left it more like security footage, and like there's
different vibes.
Yeah, but I want to change vibes and frequencies and like get different, because then that's the challenge. Like you have to like match the mood in the room, and like now you got a different audience. So that's what's appealing to me is like the next one. It's like, well, I'm not going to find someone like you guys. Like in my mind, I want to go somewhere totally different where it's just a different genre of music.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's like,
it's cool to capture. It's cool. Like for me, it was awesome because like I had an opportunity to show you guys what I see from the two of you.
Yeah.
So like that show is like my collective vision of like me and my friends trying to showcase to you guys like, hey, this is what I think you guys look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a lot of emotion behind it because I mean, this was Christina's first show like for herself.
Yeah. It was
it was our first show.
Which is funny that like I just like approached it as if you guys play all the time.
I know.
Like I was like, yeah, so like do you want to do this or not?
Well, I remember the text, she was like, are we gonna be ready for this?
I know.
She's like, do you want to do this? I'm like, hell yeah, we're doing this. What are you talking about?
I was like, I'll do it, but like if you feel like you aren't okay with doing it, like you don't have to do it, but like I'd like you to do it.
It's weird how you try and get yourself out of those, but then you don't want it. I mean, even when you guys did the one song down here, which is I think like your most popular, or like your, like in your opinion, your best song. Like when you guys did that down here, I wasn't worried about anything. I just was more worried about capturing the audio and the video.
Yeah,
and
it was all like the logistics.
Yes, the nightmarish stuff. That,
which
a lot
was
of people
like that.
don't. A lot of people don't see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, and like. That's where like I got to work on as a better person, because like when everything, the two things I posted down here is I hide in the crowd, and I need to be more forward and being like, I need to like, because I learned a lot from Mike where he's like, look, you're supposed to be controlling people's emotions. And then I was like, fuck, I didn't even think that that's my job.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you can put it all together, but then you have to make sure it stays together. And like, I feel like there was sometimes it was becoming unglued, but there was too many professional people to be involved for it to fall apart. But I could see where if you did not have professional people in every aspect of it, like that could have went super.
Michael was the GOAT,
Yeah.
obviously. Yes, Michael was very, very helpful.
But see, that's what these guys do for a living.
Right.
So it's like, you know
and
you start seeing where these guys, why they get to do that for a living.
Yeah, and even like the way he was towards me, because he could tell that like I was like getting stressed out.
Yeah.
Just because of like setting everything up, and he was like, "What do you need?" Like he's like, "You hang out." He's like, "You want to go?"
He was doing
home?
that to me too, because I was getting stressed because it's like hosting something is like It's a lot. It's a lot to carry, and I don't know why I do it to myself. Because every time I do it, I'm like, I hate this. No, and then as soon as it's over, I'm like, I want to do another one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a roller coaster.
It's a build up. Like you can't. It's a catch-22. Like, and I feel the same way. I'm like,
and you don't remember the catch-22 until you're in it. Yeah. Like once people started coming here, I was like, fuck, I gotta talk to people.
Yeah. I had to host.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's how it is. Like when you get on stage, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to talk to people. But then you do it, and you're like, oh, this is so great, and I love it.
It's weird.
But then afterwards too, you kind of. I'm always just like, keep my head down. Like I don't want anyone. Like please don't talk to me. Like leave me alone. I don't know if you liked what I just did, but hopefully you did. Like I don't know.
Where do you guys want to go with everything? Like, do you? I mean, will you have a show
tomorrow?
So like, have you guys been like actively trying to book more to do that set more at places? I'm sure that gave you confidence to like play. Because, I mean, I came out and saw open mic, but I didn't realize open mic, you do like a song and then you're off stage. And I'm just
you
like,
just do about like 3 or 4 depending on like how many people are there. But yeah, I think so. Like, we got approached to do like play at Rocky Ramen in Doylestown, actually, your buddy's place. So we're probably gonna be doing that in like February-ish.
His music does well there too.
Yeah,
it's a really cool spot. I'll definitely come down for it. The food's awesome too.
Yeah, we just have to figure out more like covers and things like that to fill the time slot. But
I didn't even think of that because you're gonna go much longer. Yeah, they'd probably want you to play like 4 hours.
Yeah, something like that. So like and that's why I told him, I was like, yeah, we can't do January because we won't be prepared for that. But yeah, so like that, and then I just sent in to apply for a anti-Valentine's Day show, which I thought like fit my vibe, our vibe. So we're like waiting to hear back from that. But even if we don't get it, like they still.
Where's that at?
It would have been at Sokol's in Bethlehem. But even so, like if we don't get chosen to be on that like lineup, you know, they're like, well, you are in our list of other artists for other events that we like. So I'm just honestly like, just put our names out like now, like, and it's interesting
and then just keep working on it.
Yeah, because like so many people, like I've been playing music in like Bethlehem for about like 7 years now. Like, and now just now people are like coming up like, okay, literally on what day is it right now? Whatever. Monday I was at an open mic. And there's a guy there that I've seen him perform multiple times. He has seen me perform multiple times. But then he comes up to me afterwards. He's like, hey, do you mind if I follow you on Instagram? Like, your stuff is so dope. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, no problem. Like, but I'm like, I know who you are. And I know you've seen me. But, like, you are just now starting to, like, notice me, which is, like, hilarious. But, like you would, like, can agree with this. So many people are like, oh, Christina does, like, her own music. Because I always was just, like, that girl that was like so-and-so's like girlfriend and like sang in that band with them, like that. I was never like myself, you know. I never had like my own name, I guess, in a way. Like, or my own identity.
What's cool is like a part of the reason I wanted to do it was also to learn how to give content. Like, I understand how content works for businesses that come on. Right. But music, I was like, all right, well, you could put music on Spotify. So if I did more of that, it still can feed to Spotify. You can do music on YouTube. And that's way easier to get it to a listen than me being like, check out, you know, All Valley Rooter Plumbing. Like, I love Jared who runs that business, but I have to like work really hard to like get his name out there in an interview where music is, people listen to music all the time. So to hear that kind of feedback where like you guys are able to build, you know, because like when we first started talking, like what you were going to be able to get out of it, I'm like, oh, well, you could release that as singles, you could release it as a full live show, you could release it as music videos, you could release it as reels. Like, there's a lot you can dig through there. But it's interesting now to hear that like people come up to you because you put a legitimate thing out and looks legitimate, where they're like, oh man, but meanwhile it's what you've been doing the entire time in front of that person, and he's like, I saw it on my phone. Like, I just played.
It's wild. Like, even with like, I've been posting videos on Instagram for years too, you know, and like, well, it's different now how they've changed Instagram. Like, you can see like how many people viewed, but like before it, like it was just like the likes or whatever. But like I go through like to see, you know, how many views my videos have gotten, and like that, the video, the first one we put out, you know, I've got over like 2,000 views just on my page, and like all my other videos are kind of around like maybe 700 views, whatever. Like, yeah, it's not bad, but like I think it's like so cool because I look at sometimes other musicians who post videos like that, I know in the Lehigh Valley, and they post videos on Instagram and stuff, and I'm like, they aren't getting this many views. Like, I'm like,
No,
I must be,
cool.
I'm like, I must be doing something right, I guess. Like, and it's definitely a nice confidence boost, and it's like, but it also has to do with what it looks like, right?
Yeah,
100%.
Like
aesthetically, like that's what's gonna draw people in to like watch. So like what we had, like the stage and everything.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a lot of like what I was paying attention to, and like what the conversations with Mike were, and like like Mike was like, well, what do you, and like that's what I love doing is like building the stage and creating, and then like because like I never was able to take creativity and put it into art or music or anything. So like when I found out that like I can take an idea and put it on a t-shirt, or I can take an idea and I generally know where I want to go with an interview, but it's not the same way of creating. But like to do that was like we had complete control over the stage. And then like that's when I think I said to you guys like, hey, I want it to kind of like have this vibe, and I'm going to bring the suitcases over, and then I'm going to order candles, and like everything that kind of went into that. And the way what was cool was like then when Mike brought in like the drop lights, and I was like, and then like then when Matt came in and Matt started making adjustments to the lights, and like it's cool because I love all those guys, and like they do all that shit for free, and they definitely didn't have to do any of that. And like it was my second project going into it, and the first one failed in a sense that like we couldn't use the footage, and like that looked even better how this looked, where like there was more people on that team. So it's like when you start asking people to do favors like that, and especially when no one is getting paid, and that was the beautiful thing about the entire thing is we're like, Pat's Bistro did the food. It's like the vodka company came in with Blue Steel, and they gave the vodka, and then it was like, Banco came in and gave out the beer, and then it was awesome that Dave from the conversation, because I love Dave so much, but like I don't think he had a clue. And then like I had to explain. I'm like, you don't know that your bartender's putting on like this thing, and he's just like, what?
I know. I literally told him. Like,
and then he's like, can I get arrested for? I'm like, it's donut. I'm like, who's paying attention to me, bro?
Yeah. I hope some people are, but no, but it was just how many like moving parts you had, and like how it all just like came together. And
it was a lot. It was a lot.
Much.
And then like that was what cool though was like learning how to do this, and I was like, all right, well, let's figure out how much that all cost, and let's get everybody paid next time, and let's have it more organized, and like let's now, because like you guys were like such an because you're so early on, where it was like such an amateur project, but it went so well where I was like, well, what would happen if you moved up the ladder? And like somebody wanted to do this who had a massive following, and then like you could sell it, and then I was like, but you can also come back, and it's kind of how I do the podcast, where it's like I will do anything to help people locally or anyone small trying to build something, because I know how hard it is to get off your feet. But then it's also cool to play around with people who are established, and they're like, yo, what you're doing is cool. So it's like there's a lot that got out of that, and a lot that came together on that, and the fact that it was actually pulled off, and then like I said, and then the fact that, because I can't do the collab for some reason, but like you got over 2,000 on my Facebook, it was over 2,000, it was over 1,000, and then it's like, I'm excited, but then I'm like, well, what if but it's just me, I'm like, what if the next one doesn't do that well?
I know. I've been thinking about that too, because we're slowly going to be dropping like we're dropping the cover that we did that night soon, the video for that one, and I'm like, what if it's not as good as, like what if it's too much like content like being released, like,
I think we have a solid plan.
I think we have a solid plan too, like, but there's that anxiety in the back of your head that's like, well, what if this one doesn't go as well as like the first one?
And a lot of what I learned with dropping that and having content is like what needs to be built into that too, just from like a business standpoint, not to just kind of keep this all just kind of organic and whatnot, but from a business standpoint, it's like there definitely should be money built out, because you could even put like, say you put $100 behind that video, like it would have went out to 20,000 people, because you do have to pay. Stuff will organically go out to a couple thousand, and what's funny is I've like put a lot of time and effort into shit, and it's got 700, and then like I took a video of my friend he was singing Papa Roach Cut My Life Into Pieces while he like pulled on his neck, and like he does this really weird thing where he sounds like a chicken, and sometimes I just like to like throw shit into my feed, because like I'm like, well, whatever, like one, people probably are bored of the same shit I'm doing. So here's some really weird shit. And it immediately went over like 7,000 views. And I'm like,
yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, what?
I don't,
But then when I want something to hit.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Can you guys cover Papa Roach tonight? So like it's weird and it's, you know, it's organic, but then it's like I also would like to try and see like, hey, like I'll put $50 in if you want to put $50 in, and let's put $100 behind one of these videos and see how the advertising and the marketing works. Because it's shit that if you guys continue to keep growing and doing stuff that, like, you know, if you want to go out further, you do have to pay for it on some of the platforms. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's cool that everybody kind of like got what we thought we were going to get out of it, because it definitely 100% could have swung any way at any time, because there was like some moments where I was like, this tastes like anxiety, and I was just like, there was a lot of pressure, and I feel like Matt kept it cool, or you hit a lot of stuff.
Matt just grounds me in a general sense, and I honestly too, I don't know how you were feeling, but I do think that maybe even if you were freaking out, you thought to yourself, I can't freak out because she's already freaking out.
Yeah, how was it for you? How was it for you to like play the music? And so did you think it went well for you and for like how you perform?
Absolutely. I you know, we had been practicing like maybe twice a week leading up, like for every week leading up. And I was pretty confident with the music. Yeah. But like I'm also used to playing in front of people because of church and stuff like that. And the style that I play with Christina is very, very reminiscent of like a lot of modern worship music, and you know, it's like playing within my wheel. So say like if I had to play the tuba, like I don't know how to do that. Right. Like of course I'd be nervous, but like I play guitar in a style in my wheelhouse. It's like wearing like a blanket. It's very comforting.
Yeah. And it was, you know, and as much as you were off to the side, which I'm sure is easier than you having to be in the middle.
It's all about her.
And you're just like,
people
cool,
are like, what's your band name? And I said, it's just Christina Giacoletti.
Yeah, he just plays with me.
Yeah, I just play with her. That's it.
That's it. No, I'm like, it is my, like, the project is my name, but it's just as equally as much as Matt's as it is like mine, you know. But yeah, I mean, like you think about it, like Taylor Swift, like she plays by Taylor Swift, but she has a whole band that, Phoebe Bridgers, you know, she has a whole band, and it doesn't take away from the other musicians that play with her. And it was like
when I first heard your song, and then when I got to listen to it live when it was just the three of us, and then hearing what he added, I was like, oh, this is so different than her just doing acoustic, which I think is also awesome, because, you know, it's stepping out of just doing an acoustic project. And then I like that you brought in the keyboard, and you know, that added a whole nother element to it. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I have said this to Matt, like, so many of those songs, because a lot of them, you know, I've been playing them for years now, and like you get to a certain point where you're like, I hate this song, like it's a bad song, and like it's not good, you know, and you just like stop playing them. But like then Matt like completely just like brought them back to life for me, which I was like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this song again. Like I like it, like it's cool, you know. And I mean, of course, I'm always my worst critic, right? So even if the song like was good, like by itself, like without Matt and what he added, like I was sick of it, and I felt like it could be better.
Yeah.
And now like it is like better. Like it's good. Like it was missing that. Like it was. I always felt like they were missing something.
Have you guys written music together yet that wasn't original music that he added to?
Well, like that one song, but not really. I was already like playing around with that already, and you just like added to it.
It'll be interesting to see how your guys' songwriting and building goes now. For how well you guys work together. I know.
I'm a little nervous about it. Do you know why?
I'm also looking forward to it.
I'm like, I know. No, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm nervous because I know myself and like my writing process, and like for me, it's a very much like alone thing.
Yeah.
Like because I get embarrassed very easily. I don't like messing up in front of people, which like I feel like, you know, it's just a very vulnerable thing.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, I do think I'd feel comfortable doing it actually, like with you, but it like still, it's like I've never done that before. Because my writing process has always been by myself this whole time.
Yeah.
Have you been writing a lot lately?
Not as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
Lyrics, yes.
Sure.
But like
Yeah.
music,
That's
no.
what I meant. Like, well, it sounds like, and I'm just kind of from putting it together from listening to the two of you, that it sounds like the way this would be built would be you would lay the lyrics first and then kind of work the music out together, which is kind of like what you've been doing because you've already taken lyrical content and then you kind of comforted it.
And through this whole process too, like it's not just a music based thing. We've been growing as friends as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
it's
I mean, if it was flip flopped, I don't know if I would want her like writing lyrics with me at this point. But like, as we slowly get like better and better friends, like obviously we're there in those moments which we probably will write about, like there's been countless times where we've gone to the fun house, that is our spot, and you can
find us
there. Find us there, but like we'll just share about each other's lives and stuff, and we try and be good friends for each other, like as well as music. Like,
it's very important to do that.
Yeah, it's a partnership.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you guys want to play anything while you were here? You guys brought stuff.
We did.
Yeah.
Did you want to?
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
You told me that you had a plan.
Yeah.
Did it.
We did it.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
Do you guys want to do another one, or do you want to do one, or what do you want to do?
We'll just do that because.
Okay,
that's
then
fine.
let's close it out. I want to give you guys a chance to plug where anyone can see you, where anyone can follow you, anywhere where you guys hang out if they want to come and check you out. So you guys can plug your social media now.
Yeah. Oh, so my social media, where all my music stuff is just my name, Christina Giacoletti. It's Christina with a CH. And Giacoletti is spelled Giacoletti.
I've read your last name a million times and never knew it sounded like that.
I
I never comprehended it because I was always like, I don't know what that says.
Yeah, I know. I get it a lot. Yeah, that's why every time
Yeah.
I play out too, everyone's like, "What's your Instagram?" I'm like, "It's my name," but come up to me afterwards because I have to type it in. You're not going to know how to spell it.
Cool.
But yeah.
And mine is Matt Liddick, Matt_Liddick, Laddick. That's where you'll find all of my photography. I'm also a band photographer, as well as Christina's musician.
Musician.
But you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm there.
And when I have a band camp too, now
yeah.
I set up. I think it's just
There
my
you
name
go.
as well, just Christina Giacoletti. But
It's my name as well.
it's also in the bio of my Instagram, and the Spotify, Apple Music. That's coming. It's in the works.
Cool.
In the works.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate the both of you working with me, trusting that I would be able to pull all that off. And it was a lot of faith on your end it was cool. You guys were very like everybody was kind of like, fuck it, let's do it. So I love that attitude. You guys blew me away the first time you came down here, and then to capture that, and I was hanging out on the stairs during the whole event. And you guys have something special here, and I only wish you guys massive success and everything you keep doing with your music. If you're a first-time listener, first-time watcher, it's neveragainstudio.com. Everything is on neveragainstudio.com. All the episodes are on there. The audio, the video you can watch right on the website. If you don't like doing that, you can go to iTunes, Spotify, all those heavy hitters. It's just Never Again Studio. And Instagram is where I do everything. You can buy my apparel off of there. It's drop shipping, so if you order it, you're going to get it in a day or two, and then I do pre-order drops. So follow, like, listen, thank you for all that. That is probably the best I've ever closed out the show without fucking up. Thank you guys for
Thanks for having
coming
us.
out. Of course.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you.